which is the UBA DJ or Road Association March. So yeah, we're coming to you with 500.
So you guys, sorry, so you guys switched from the bowling alley to Phoenix Public Market?
Yes,
Okay.
this for a cheaper option, being that we're already getting some aid from another organization.
Is that on the request? The switch.
Yeah.
We should have made a new, we should have made a new.
Yeah, it's a new request, I just wanted to clarify that.
Oh, for sure.
Other questions?
In terms of attendance, like, did we figure out like how many people you guys were expecting?
Definitely. Well, it's still kind of pending. We obviously want to get a lot of members out. They put events invite pages for both of the organizations. So for that organization itself, I just look at now and tell you their attendance. We also send the
Other requests or other comments, questions? Okay, is there a motion?
right now, I was just really will have for any DJ, 50 people are going to want interested and we invited about like maybe 50 people on our side and do their own. And you know, it's one year for the 30 years, so still there's time. And then also the look at the AJ. Yeah, in total so far, we have a little over, maybe 20 to 30 that are, you know, inclined or willing to follow the knowledge event. And, you know,
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes.
So, on the request, all of the items are for like 20 people or 10 people. So you said that you're getting help, like, from somebody else too? Is that for the other?
we're only getting help in regards to renting out the patio area, like renting in regards to the food.
Okay. So are you sure you're gonna have enough?
Are we what?
Are you sure that you're going to have enough? If you're, once again,
Oh,
requesting for like 20.
definitely. We definitely hire. This is also going to be a very different event because we're so close to the ASU campus. Typically, the passengers would have a skate park museum or at like another kind of place that might require a little more travel. This one is a quite along with the downtown. We expect to have a following and allowing people to come and join in.
Okay. Thank you. Any final questions? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving $5 for National Association of Black Journalists, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, your funding request is going to be granted.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So you're feel free to hang out, yeah, Vanessa will contact you.
Wait, I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Now we are going to move on to funding request from the conference senators. Yes.
So we're requesting $146 $72 for our rent on Monday to Jordan. It's gonna be a meeting, it's gonna be stage money for the frozen yogurt and fruit salad.
Is it fine to have food in the shade garden?
Yeah, I spoke with Taylor.
What do you know? Like you should advertise.
Oh, well, we have Jordan's, doors of comprehensive, so that's the second and third floor, is exclusively combined, and then, floors like 10 and 11, which are barracks, so they're not exclusive to combined, but they can have, like, nursing students or health innovation students. There's like big posters near the elevators, and there's also flyers down in the base, like not the base, on the ground floor, Taylor Place, and on our Facebook page. Yeah.
Have you connected with any like student orgs to within your college that know about that?
Not student board necessarily, but we have been speaking with promotes our college. So she's put it in which is a online article that goes out to all students that are here. So it's been advertised actually. So then we go.
Well, non-fresh people to get in because it's in the shade garden. You're putting it in place.
And they open the side gate.
Any other questions?
Oh, how are you gonna make sure it's just online students? It doesn't matter.
Sorry, okay, we have like the CIC, so like how many two tracks of who's coming in, and then our master is going to be like. We do the course like.
Other questions? Is there a motion to vote?
I motion to vote.
All those in favor of approving the conference center requests, say aye. Opposed? Now we're going to move on to executive updates, starting with the Vice President of Services.
Hello, everyone. Just for clarification, how much was that for the last time you requested? Yes. Thank you. Wanted to make sure. So this week I've been to a few conferences, learning about what our students are doing and our population of students. I attended the Medical Campus Institution Conference, which was held by our University Board Committee for Inclusion. And they touched base on mental health, the importance of mental health and science within students to kind of assist their situation for crisis out of the student. They also touched base on accessible documents and the importance of accessible documents. Staff and Emma currently in the RC's Building Resource Center to make our advertisements that are more accessible to students with hearing and visual disabilities. I also attended the State of Art State Address, which was held by the Morrison Institute for Public Policy with the College of Public Service and Community Solutions. They focused on the independent voter a lot and how independent voter outreach is important for elections and the importance the media has. It was really nice to see that that more does need to be done and more outreach needs to be done for these independent voters and Arizona. 30% of voters in Arizona are independent, so it was nice to hear that. And for upcoming elections, student government can actually look into that. I met with the coalitions. It was really nice to meet all of our coalition leaders. We basically talked about different events that are coming on the calendars, and a lot of them got to personally meet with me to look for collaboration with different companies campus, not just with the coalition itself, but a partnership with USGD and that certain coalition. So next semester, there'll be more partnerships with those various coalitions that we have university-wide. Not sure if I mentioned, but the Central Coalition next semester is going to be kind of revamped in a sense. We're making it a more interactive experience. We're having more workshops, one guest speakers. It's less more of a meeting rather than a big experience that student leaders can attend and get feedback and get different strategies to improve their student organization. There was a student that I met with who was concerned about fire safety and maintaining residential halls. So that's something that I'm also working on right now with a student. She has proposed a plan that she wants to work with USGD and later on with the DA's office. So I'm working with that student, getting all that information prepared so she can submit a proposal for that. So if you guys would like to work with me, I'm sorry, I'd be happy to connect. That student is actually going to post to this student. For Central Express, at our president's meeting, I was addressed that there are still concerns regarding the Central Express, and I am open to hear those concerns from our senators. So whatever concerns are, I'm following up on with the Central Express, please let me know as soon as possible so I can address them with time. I'm in talks with them in consultation right now, so just double verify and make sure that there are no other problems with the things being placed out with the schedule next time. My question to this item right now is, are there any concerns regarding the Central Express that you would like me to address in the transportation movement?
Are we using the feedback from the RELA?
I don't.
Or like when we hear issues about the Central Express? Or we have our own issues with it?
That has not been reached out yet, no. So we can advertise for that, not just for our Senate, but for our students. So I have an idea of basically putting that form on a flyer in the Central Express so students can see, and then we can actually order that for next semester.
I thought the form was like to report concerns.
Correct.
So
So that form, I can actually get that form basically on the board back and have a site and the Central Express, so students do have concerns about it, they can easily access that, they can see it on the Central Express.
Any other questions? Yes.
Just a question about, how often do you meet with them or like?
So I do my best to check in with them once a week in numbers. Right now, they're working with this meeting. So sometimes it needs the transportation to actually look at those numbers and create numbers and such. So that's why I haven't heard from them this week, but I'm reaching out to them.
Okay, so, hearing you were referring to a program last week, and it's basically just a staff feedback form, so if you write something that express, and you find some concern, you have some updates and feedback, then it's specifically for our staff to, voice those concerns. And, I was speaking with Riley and trying to figure out when the best time he's actually pushed this out and last time. Really go in and write them with the president, some deadline, when you have to fill out that form.
I see. We can actually make it a mandatory commitment for every staff member to do. We just need notice for that. So we can actually plan that out. My goal for everything is actually working next semester because I don't think it's coming up and time is actually very, very limited at the moment for advertising and everything for the Central Express. With that being said though, there are events that are placed for the first week of school coming back for the Central Express. No one has been notified of that yet because we're still finalizing everything. So once that is done, before the winter break happens, I will notify our senators and our entire staff about those events and they can those events mandatory. So everyone has to take notice of that.
Senator Robinson and I both expressed concerns over email, so I'm assuming that you don't want to say.
Feel free to bring them up.
I think the main point of those concerns was asking you for some guidance from the Senate for looking at alternatives for the future, just because the semester has almost over. And so far, the data has not been the goals that we set when we passed the Central Express. So just some guidance for next semester and what Senate can do or should be doing to look at alternatives.
I was under the impression that it was a survey that our students did not want an alternative. They weren't looking, there was an early need for an alternative, so I looked at that data. So if you guys want to connect with more constituents in order to see if an alternative is needed, I'm happy to look on that.
So when we passed it this semester, there was a recommendation from the executive board that set out our, Ryan was the one, I think, I'm sorry, director of the league, put together a document that had goals and specific numbers on it, and we have been far from those numbers so far. So when we passed it, the understanding seems to be that we'd be looking at alternatives for next year, should we not meet the goal and it not be successful to the standards that we wanted it to be. And it hasn't met those standards. So that's what I'm not necessarily referring to the feedback from our constituents necessarily, but we did set those goals for student dollars.
My recommendation with that being said, maybe I think go to the next office meeting, we'll discuss different alternatives, if there be an alternative for next semester.
Sorry, not next semester, for us to look at next
Next
semester.
year. Yeah, we can look into that during caucus or any other time, to basically go over those goals, and also if need be, look for an alternative. Right now, within that survey, that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking at necessarily the decision that we made, I'm looking at what our constituents are saying about this. So that's what I'm paying attention to, so we can look at both things together and kind of come to a consensus and agreement.
Yeah, I just keep that quick. I think the idea was to set these goals as like as something to shoot for. So some of those first, I agree. I think we have for next year's Senate to vote on some alternatives as well. I think the goal or the proposal would be Sunday Express and then maybe 2 other options that are ready to go, ready to be implemented at that time. But I think we need to make sure that we're focusing on, right now we have the Sunday Express and trying to make that is a priority, but also separately, I think looking at alternatives is also a priority. So I don't think we should look at talking about the Sunday Express as we should be talking about alternatives. I think those are 2 different conversations that we should be having. How can we improve what we have now, and then how can we have a backup plan for next year in case we can't do this? But I think there should be maybe a Senate task force for each, both the Senate Express and perhaps one alternative for next year, so that when we come next year, it can take 3-4 weeks for us to pass and get it into
In the same time, I'm going to recommend that we start conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I do have more to talk about the Cinema Express, so I will do that later on. But those 2 conclude my updates. For Stan, are there any questions? Personal privilege, I mean,
Okay, now we're going to go on to Vice President of Policy update.
Hello, everybody. This past week, we had several members of the team, with them came forward to see what kind of legislation they were working on, and also to connect with other student governments across the state there. So number one thing that we found out at A4 was, so for this next year, they're expecting $100 million surplus structurally in the Arizona budget. Currently, they're sitting at about $24 million, so far below the goal. So A4's request for $86 million in university funding is probably not going to happen. And then Dr. Crow also really went ahead and spoke kind of the heart of the issue. He cited figures, including that Montana per capita, they spend $700 per capita on higher education. Here in Arizona, it's $118. It's either the second lowest or the lowest in the nation. And he really went on, I'd say, at a tirade about our current economic status here in Arizona, about how we are focused on laissez-faire politics. But the big thing that we're missing is that in order for laissez-faire politics to work, you have to have an educated workforce and educate consumers, and that's what's really missing here in Arizona. If that continues to happen, we're going to see the slow GDP growth continue to be stable yet far below what was pre-recession levels. He also stated a statistic that $15 before the recession, $15 every $1,000 spent, or that someone made went towards higher education here in the state of Arizona, and that was when taxes here were at 5%. Today it is instead of $15, $3, and personal income tax has only dropped to 3.2%. So you've seen education spending drop fivefold, while the actual taxes that are bringing in the most amount of money only decrease slightly. And so his argument is that the prioritization of higher education here is far below what it needs to be. Additionally, President Klein gave a report talking about debt here in Arizona currently. Of those who have debt here in Arizona, the average amount of debt is $24,000. The average debt total is $14,000. The regents also discussed a way to help fund capital here in Arizona, capital for universities, so buying buildings, everything, because we spend so much on sales tax here in AZ at the universities, they wanted to be able to reclaim those dollars so that they could just reinvest them in university. That was rejected. In President Klein's report, she also reported that question one in Mesa City, in the city of Mesa, which would allow for an additional tax to help build ASU buildings over there, was rejected. And then we also discussed, I'm going to let Director Lee talk a little bit more about our meeting there with other student governments, but we found out that the tax-free textbook initiative actually is already in place. There are no state sales taxes on textbooks. So that was an interesting conversation. Additionally, remember next week we have Jackson's State of the Campus address on Tuesday night. So be ready for that. Invite your constituents. We're going to have a town hall and associated with that for constituents. We're going to ask questions to USGD, so it'll be very important that all of you are there if you can make it. And that you're inviting constituents to come. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and give the floor.
Chair, in regards to the tax-free budget policy, in terms of making sure that ASU is compliant, compliance with that regulation, because I know in Arizona, these are fully encouraging required, that textbook force or enforced,
So how does it explain to me by Kenzie was that we are in compliance and that there is a tax, but it's city tax. And that's why you do have that. You still have a small tax on textbooks. It's from the city level. I can continue conversations with her on that subject to find out more.
Awesome. That would move on to, yes, Senator Hershey. That would move on to President.
Awesome, thank you, Riley. I have a lot of updates, so I do apologize. So I think I'm put on everyone's radar screen. One, Jimmy already mentioned the policy talk that will be taking place on Tuesday at 7 p.m. here in the San Carlos. So please share the Facebook event. I'll be posting about it later this afternoon. Please be sure that there's a decent number of attendance, because in addition to myself talking, there were also members of the student government, including myself and a few others for a panel discussion in terms of where we can actually start that first and discuss programs that may be taking place on campus. Also, please attend the on-I meet and greet if you are available. Jessica, Adriana, and Emma, we created more than hard on. We haven't been created, so thank you for that. applications. We had a total of 7 applicants apply. All were from the Tempe campus, and in the next few weeks, myself, members of COP, and possibly a few faculty administrators will be conducting interview processes, in which we will narrow down the 7 to a list of 5, and inviting them all to a student briefing reception, which will be held on November 28th, I believe, at 7:30 p.m. On the Tempe campus. Also, more information you all on that the approaches. With that also being said, in terms of stuff that's happening on the board level on 28th and 29th, members of the ASU Plus Alliance will be joining us on our campuses. So I will be in Tempe for most of those days. If you're all interested in coming with me and meeting members of other institutions, one is from the University of New South Wales, I believe, the other is from a institution in Australia. So if you're all interested in being involved in that, I can send you more information on that as well. In addition to that, COP met with 2 important groups this week. The first group was the elections commissioner. Her name is Dara, and we're currently in the process of hiring our assistant elections commissioner in all of our locations. So some of the things that we talked about with Dara are really just voicing our concerns. As the president of the seen as the really concerned that poll workers are stationed at all of the booths, making sure that poll workers aren't actually talking about those running, and ensuring that parking for the elections are not just limited to one side and other things, with the hopes of mostly increasing voter turnout amongst our students and making students more aware of the election process as a whole. If any of you have any questions about the election process in general, feel free to direct them to me, and I'll direct them to Dan, because moving forward, student government officials should have very little actual connection to the elections commissioner and the assistant election commissioner's team, just as far as interest in terms of conflicts of interest. In addition to that, COP also met with the Council of Coalitions. Our meeting really dove into the increased level of microaggressions that are being taken or that are being seen on campus following the election. We also discussed matters of public safety, the importance of being able to engage in calm and cool collective discussion regardless of your political affiliation, where we as a campus, campuses, the university goes from here. Brandon Bishop and members of the coalitions are working together to draft a letter to send all students. That letter is now been finalized, and I'll be sharing that with you all later so we can put that out to our students. And I myself stress the importance of ensuring that efforts to combat microaggressions cannot just be limited to signing a letter or a petition, but must involve your government events. And so part of what Ernie spoke to earlier about the Council of Coalitions being more involved in each of the different locations are more in terms of addressing certain microaggressions that are more related to the ability to communicate effectively with one another without involving rhetoric that may be offensive, because in any cases, policies will always be contested. In many cases, we'll find disagree with the manner in which we go about it. And so in a conversation with Council of Coalitions and then a few constituents in the last few days related to microaggressions that they've been seeing, I kind of spent some time to reflect on how not only myself, but we as important to communicate, and I just think it's important to engaging in calm, collective discussions, and then also communicating in calm rhetoric and making sure that you're honoring everyone's opinions, no matter if it differs, and agreeing to essentially disagree. And then also making sure that we are active listeners in our community and we're actively engaging with our students. I've definitely learned in the last week the importance of listening to constituents one-on-one, because without their knowledge and without their guidance, we essentially wouldn't have a job. So I would again like to remind everyone, as much as I was reminded last week and this week, to really engage with your students and take time to listen to what they're saying and what they're talking about. And unfortunately, like I was going to extend a thank you for those speaking on the DACA resolution. Because it's really cool when we have musicians come in and voice issues in our academy. And so again, just like to thank everyone for the progress thus far. I'll be reaching out to all of you throughout the next few months to just kind of discuss how things are going. And I'll kind of be bringing up some things that I want to discuss at my fall talk on 22nd. Thank you all for an awesome semester. Again, if any of you ever have any questions, comments, concerns, my phone, my email, my office are always open and locked. And if you ever need to talk to me, feel free to always request one-on-one. So that's a very long update. Oh, also, tomorrow's the viewing party, if you are able to, feel free to make it out. ASU is only in Washington, so they'll need all the support, that we can muster for them, so that is my thing. I will send that information.
And that we're gonna move on to director report, starting with the chief of staff.
Hi guys, so I sent a couple emails out today. One of them was November MVP. And go ahead and vote for our next Senate meeting. That is when our MVP will be announced on December 2nd. And then that core value survey, I believe I sent it out a couple weeks ago. But if you haven't voted on that, I believe 12 people have participated. And we want as many people as possible on that. So just search your email if you need me to send it to you again. I can do so. But this survey in particular has the descriptions that would sort of go along with the core values once they're selected. So we can go ahead and start looking at that. And then another announcement, early dinner is going to be at the VIG on the 2nd. I know that a lot of you finals are starting to gear up for finals, so this is our last meeting of the semester. And then just we're looking at changing, just so that you guys know, we're looking at changing a couple things on the AR form next semester, adding some more questions that sort of reflect on the future week. I know that kind of goes back to the rule reports, but just one question, and then we're also looking at implementing a question that kind of goes along with our CFP priorities and how you help with that week. I'll have more information on that as well here. And then this will actually be assigned on the 2nd at the next Senate meeting, but we're going to have an assignment over winter break, where you guys will be, I don't want to call them action plans because I don't want to scare you, but sort of putting together a goal list for next semester in the form of a block list. So you're going to have all of winter break to be able to do that, but we sort of want to have an outline for ourselves for this next semester, and then we'll just go live with that so that you kind of keep yourselves accountable and your constituents will know what you're working on.
Are the goal lists individually or like by office or college or?
Individually. So you can collaborate, but essentially everybody needs to turn one in. And then, you can maybe look at altering the way that we post them, just so that they're not extremely redundant if you're collaborating with people, but I think everybody needs to turn one in so that to make sure that everybody's completing it. And if you were familiar with last year's legislature, we had things called action plans over the summer. It's around the same thing, but not as intense. But we do kind of want you to draw out what you want to do by next month, who you're going to contact, where you're going to be, and what goals you're going to work on. So there's a little bit more structure. All right.
My updates are kind of days as far as what we're going to be doing for next semester. So one of them is your calendars as far as like the class schedule, work schedule, whatever that may be. If you guys can send that in to myself by December 2nd, I will be sending out a request to everyone so that way you guys can plan. It may not strike the week, but your schedules to me as soon as possible so that way when we're planning Zoom meetings, or you want to plan board meetings, or that's the other issue easier to get to plan meetings for individual wise as well as we have all that.
I was going to say tentative schedule. So if you don't know yet what your class schedule looks like, if you apply to an internship and you haven't heard back yet, just sort of give us what you do know right now so that we can go ahead and start putting, different committees on the radar and, meetings and everything like that so that we're not scrambling at the first and second weeks of the semester.
And then also, if you need any assistance with setting up Google Calendar, feel free to reach out to me. Because in the road, my hand is starting to
Also, just a little update of what I've been working on for the internship program and kind of how we're going to some, I guess, changes or updates that you guys know. Also, we work for next semester, as we spoke about before, the next semester will be for them to kind of pick and choose who they want to shout out for the remainder of the spring semester, so that will be assigned. Also, we'll be putting in place a kind of like a full regulation type of guideline for the internship program and contract for them to sign going into the spring semester, so that we kind of look more on accountability for them. And it hasn't necessarily been created just yet, but once it is created, I will just send that out to everybody. And you guys will know where to send that to the intern for them to sign. Also, just wanted to give recognition to the senators, because I've heard a lot of great compliments from your guys' interns. I asked them how they were doing, how they felt that their transition was going, and like working with their senators, and a lot of really positive feedback. That was great. They really enjoyed this. So thank you so much for putting up in that effort to teach them and train them and give them advice and help them out with actually this thing also.
Thank you. Oh,
I think for my time to be honest. Go ahead.
I have gotten inquiries about the internship program for like people trying to come in now. However, I have like turned them away for this semester because it was so late, and because of the way that it's set up, it would be kind of difficult for them to kind of like play catch up with everybody else. However, it will be reopened in the spring. We'll do a little bit more of a formal invitation than kind of how we had it during the fall, where in the fall I didn't really conduct interviews, things like that. It was just if you were interested, we'd be glad to have your part. However, going into the spring semester, we have a little bit more structure. That intake process will change. So if you know anybody who's interested, please like let me know, and I'll be able to set up for like for like the proper interviews and intake process for that. So yes, I will be taking in the interns for the spring semester, but I haven't accepted any more for the fall because we're really like basically this semester go for our own inquiries, and I was like beginning of November, beginning of October, beginning of November, so there was really no point to try to bring them in, but I have kept the contact information, and I have informed them. I told them I was going to report them when we go back up in the spring.
Mentioning my time, I sound like a broken record with this, but how's the application going?
We're getting so bored. I had to order it off Amazon because it was really difficult to try to coordinate when I get the P card, when I get the staff, because of the schedule that I have and be and Ron, so we're working out online, and so everyone knows the application will not be done until next semester because of the issue with getting the supplies. There it is, it'll be done next semester. The supplies will be here before next semester, and we will be done in the beginning of next semester.
That, and then we go on to the Director of Public Relations. Hello, everyone. It's nice to come out and meet some. I apologize for my absence. I've been short on time. Part of that was last weekend I was at the USGD Association of Student Governments. It was a conference about student government. I actually went in attendance for my other job. I ended up by student government. So got to really use that the information out there and bring it back here, and that I have a few ideas that I want to start implementing. One of the things is almost all the student governments that we're going to have town halls. I know our event Tuesday is going to be kind of like one, but I would like to see more formal town halls take place down here. I think that's just a great idea for that. I don't know where another idea that I was starting to make is chicken breeds. So at the end of the week on Fridays, all highlight just a few bullet points and we're going to email and send it to downtown Dublin State Press and some key school organizations. But that's just another way to get our information out there, and not only will it help us stay focused and really know what we're doing, but also be attractive. That's great. Thank you to all the board members that turned in your blogs. I've started, I posted a bunch this week. I almost called them. I was gonna give you a quick update on what's that. This month so far we've had 101 visitors and over 150 reviews. Those are like unique visitors, that's just for and then last month, 325 visitors and 200 reviews. So overall pretty successful, I would say. Most people have been looking for Facebook, a few from Twitter, and a handful of our website. So it's always fun for me to look for really good insights. And I can always tell you if you're wondering how well you want to do. Right now, Facebook is still in the lead. But Chili's is close second with 46 reviews. Cases senators, I should ask, but do we like Sunday night deadlines?
Yeah.
Okay, senators are long, we can do Sunday. I mean, it doesn't really, I mean, it matters, but I think it's all the time. So, from now on, what we do on Sunday night.
Including today.
Including today. It's not really fair because you were done. And then over the winter break, I'm going to be launching, I guess, the website. So we had a meeting last week about what we want to see, what we don't want to see on the new website. There's in the whiteboard in the office, there's a list, so you guys can add to that. I actually really appreciate it. You guys can add to that. There's 3 different questions. Kind of looking at we're going for is a lot of white space, very free. If you guys come across any student from the website of a different university that you really like, go ahead and send it over. It should be in URL. Okay, it was a really good meeting. We discussed like colors. So I'm very excited. That's going to be my entire week. I stay home a lot. So. Yay.
Hey guys, happy Friday. So I made a flyer for something event this week. I made some flyers and stuff for Snapchat, but so that was really exciting. Snapchat launched at the meet and greet. We have Martin and I made a goal to have 50 interests, and we doubled it. So that's awesome. Yeah, and we did a little bit of that at a board meeting. Posted like what we were doing and stuff. So I'll let you guys know. It's all really new stuff, but I'll let you guys know how we're doing, viewing our stories and stuff, that kind of thing. At AWR, I talked to the people from Poly, and they're starting to Snapchat now, so that's cool. And was it any of you that just called? We were all talking about it, so it was really cool. I got a few ideas on like stuff we can do with it. Next steps, I'm going to do a tour of like the Sun Devil Express on it. So that will be sometime this week. I'll take a ride on the Sun Devil Express one day and kind of like explain like stop by stop and everything. So that will be good for advertising the Sun Devil Express. And then to get like more friends and stuff, I'm going to work on marketing and post around it, so please. Get more followers. At Able, we also have a few other marketing ideas that I'm looking into, and I'll share with you guys later if they work out. I've been working on marketing for the Sunday Express stuff coming up in January, that earning this week up. And as always, if you need anything, Facebook, anything on social media, or any marketing, please help me. Catherine, you want to share? Oh, shoot, sorry. Alright, so, the newsletter has a template and everything, so that's all completely done, it's just content. So if anyone has any ideas for content or anything, I'm going to, like, I would love to take your ideas on that. Next intern rotation, I'm gonna kind of give it to the interns as like their little project. Because the template's all there and everything, so it's really like, they just need to put stuff in it and get it out there, so. We're just gonna keep it on. So, thank you for asking. This is bad.
So I think we're gonna, just to keep the same look and feel of it, we're gonna have just one person run it. And I don't know if you can make it to the event.
But yeah, you can always invite me to your events and I'll Snapchat for you.
Okay. Yeah, just because we want to keep it like that. Consistent. I mean, you can definitely tell someone on Snapchat, but your personality comes through a little, so we don't want to keep it. But I'd like to be someone new in the future, we just want to.
Yeah, and if you guys have events that you want me to be, like Snapchatting, definitely invite me and I'll make it to them or we'll come up with an alternative.
Alright, so now we're gonna move on to the director. Okay, guys, I just mostly have numbers because so far we want to do $69,818.87. Up until now, and we actually have quite a bit of money left this semester, with only one USGD left. We have $56,401.13 left. So we're doing pretty good. And as far as for the whole school year, we have $182,621.13 left to allocate to students, organizations, individuals, whoever comes to us. But as I said, the next PAC is the last one. And like both Jay and Candace have said, please share your updated schedules and your next semester so that we can work out.
So BAC hasn't been addressed yet?
No.
Okay.
Now moving on to the Director of Local Affairs. Hi, everyone. So we had our meet and greet, we had about 102 people in the office, and then 13 staff members total. We had some pickups. We ordered the food in over the phone and discussed with the manager, whoever was hearing, about like using the key card. So they told me that the order will be ready by 11. When I got there, they said they wouldn't start until I made the payment, but like the key card and like certain processing that they have to do. So I ended up having to wait an hour or so for the food, and it was late for the event. But even though I was late, all the food was gone, and we did have a good turnout still, so that was good. Thank you to everyone, all the staff members that came. You guys really helped a lot, especially with carrying all the things in and then getting people to come to the office. That was a really fun event. So good job to everyone for that. And then, as Jimmy said, we were at Able this week. This
is a really cool opportunity, and if, especially if you're a senator in the next semester, if you have the time to go to ABOR, I would suggest it because it's a really great opportunity to work with seeing university-wide initiatives and then also processing across all universities, and also collaboration between ASU and also NAUA. So I would started planning for Passport to Phoenix. Our first meeting will be November 30th at 4:15 in the USGD office. So if you are interested in being part of that, you can attend. And we will be discussing like date, that kind of stuff, working on towards that event next semester. I know we talked about EAC today, the big market. EAC is going to be at December 2nd, so we'll be talking more about that then. I created a new events request form, just so I can keep my events organized and have enough time to plan them, because it does take a lot of work to put in these events. So I'm asking for 2 weeks ahead of time for tabling events, and then for bigger events such as a group day or anything like that. Just because it is a lot of paperwork and administration stuff that we have to go through, and it does take time to do that. And then if you are signing up for an event, please make sure that you are attending and accordingly around them. Because it's really hard to have an event and then have people not show up to help with the ability. It's okay if you like have an emergency and things like that, but it's really nice to have staff there all the time. And then also, I'm planning on over break to make a local business like discount guide. So kind of have a sheet of all the local businesses that are around that have a student discount, so that we can give them out on flyers, share them on our Facebook, at our events and things like that, because there's a lot of businesses that already have them, but students aren't aware. And it's a good way to have students kind of walk outside of our campus, because there's so much stuff around and people just don't know about it. So I'll be working on that.
Okay, and now we're going to Director of State and High School Affairs.
Okay, so sticking on the AIM board training here, the student leader dinner that we vice president policy I mentioned earlier, it wasn't quite as productive as the previous one, but I think the previous AIM board was a little earlier in the year, and you guys talk about things for the next semester right now, kind of in the middle of the just a clarification on the policy initiative of textbooks. There is a tax on textbooks that is a municipal tax. This is where the confusion arose. They saw there was a tax on it and they want to get rid of it, but it wasn't the state tax, it was a municipal city tax. That's where that confusion came from. The reason we weren't really informed until this point was because you were setting this up, and we were kind of relying on them for, we weren't really heading this up, so until they came to us with things that they wanted us to do, we really didn't have a huge part in planning at all. I'm not going to be on a call for with the other legislation policy and their policy departments to figure out what the next step is for the legislative agenda for the spring semester, and hopefully we can something achievable in shorter time frame. As for the actual agenda items at ABOR, not a whole lot of interest, to be honest. The ASU's capital development plan was revised to include a conference center, which is going to be on the southeast corner of Mill and University. The conference center will include a hotel, conference center, lifelong learning, center. Yeah, something to do with that, and a new working structure to supplement the loss in working space and the increase in the demand for parking. Additionally, the group housing that I mentioned last same meeting in December before that was presented to USGD. The land lease was an agenda item that was approved, so the rehousing should be moving forward and should be completed by fall of 2018. Also, the last thing is the Armstrong Fall and Ross Blakely library renovations. We got the law school, the law library, and then the Center for Law, Tempe campus. Don't have anything there. They're not renovating. They're not demolishing it. They're just going to renovate it for the liberal arts and sciences. So they have a main office. They didn't have a main office. This will be a good thing for those students. The next ABOR is at ASU. It's going to be February 1st to 3rd, which means there's no reason you all can't stop them at some point in there, I think. Like Marianne said, it's an awesome opportunity to network with your fellow student leaders and see what they're doing, take their ideas, bring it here, and even give them some ideas of what we're doing, like our Snapchat, and spread it to other campuses so that they can be better. It's also a good opportunity to talk with these student governments from NAU and UVA, since we're in a central location. We're hoping that a fair amount of their student governments will also be independent. It's a really, really good opportunity to talk with them. Lastly, our day of capital, the advocacy day is going to be January 25th. That's a Wednesday. I encourage you all to keep an eye on that, and for the folks to be involved in this advocacy day, reach out to President Paul to me, and we can get you involved a little bit more heavily. And we're just kind of waiting on more information from campuses and the other universities to see what exactly our deadline is for that advocacy day. If there are no questions. Yes.
For the advocacy meeting, and just for like to speak up, because we have to take them.
The advocacy day is January 25th. That is the second week of classes, second or third week of classes of next semester. Are there any other questions, concerns?
We'll start on issue 3 strikes, 1 to Jimmy, 1 to Ryan, and 1 to Candace. All 4 fell in the deadline to the block of the AR. To about legislation. If you are an executive or you would like to work on legislation, please feel free to do so. Just team up with the senator for this and your other case, so that other people can get some information on how to do that and experience with that. For spring semester, it was decided by this meeting that we're going to start requiring set office hours. So right now we've been pretty flexible. You can kind of come and go, it can be different. But now we're going to start requiring at least once a week that you post like where you are, and if those are consistent, so that way students can come. Last year, this was something that they never did very well, so we're bringing it back. Yeah.
When we say post,
Like on Facebook, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
additionally, they can be added to the as well.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I was also gonna say Twitter, you use that, you know, like Twitter or something like that, just anywhere where it's public, you let people know that you're gonna be there.
And we're gonna start wanting, or at least something that I want to see something doing more, myself included, is more outside office hours, like Starbucks, and then know that we always end up doing it in the office, which makes sense, but, you talk to more constituents if you're outside of things. So, other news as far as the election code, we had a constituent bring up that there was something in the edits that we all decided on that didn't go according to the Constitution. And we were glad that we brought that up, so we just changed that back, so it goes in accordance with the Constitution. That being said, the edits weren't made in time for us to be able to post it and vote on it today. But luckily, we have next Senate meeting too, so we will be voting on the election code at the December 2nd. Last thing for me is the Senate's only going to be required to do 1 office hour this coming week since it is Thanksgiving. And that's it for me. All of the reports, starting with Barry.
So conversations are on and I go to. So last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago,
with the fair rep for the college council, and she was able to explain the very confusing process of fair college council, because it's not similar to other college councils where there's one on campus. There's only one fair college council for attendee and representative for each specific campus. So she spoke to that rep. Additionally, further our outreach to our community, Ariana and I, next semester, because there are a few events that May this semester, we'll be meeting with the CA and our lawyers so that we're able to meet with their students in the resident communities, their core events. As well, we'll start doing our additional hours on those bare floors in an effort to further that communication with them. Ariana has been working on our Facebook page. We were able to launch that today. And then she's also working on flyers and our info just around the Barrett office as well as Barrett floors, as well as just general. And then those should be done by next week. We talked about this last week, but Barrett, or last week, Barrett certainly promote our show chat will be on the 28th, I believe, or the Monday after Thanksgiving is. So make sure you come to that if you can. And then that's it for my updates. We're looking at more bylaw changes, working with Ryan about these, or Ryan, about this, sorry, on these bylaw changes, as well as working with Vice President of Policy, Harwood, Hernandez on resolution 9. Also still haven't heard back from Dan about UBCs, so they can grab that. Then, yeah.
Now we're gonna go to contact. A lot of what we've been doing for the last couple weeks is planning our event. And it's coming up Monday, so finally our event planning with the asking for Monday request is coming in, so hopefully we can just start to enjoy it. Everyone's ready, so it's Monday, January from 6 to 8. Last week, me and Adrian met with Caitlin Zhang, who is our student engagement. She's employed by the university just for contact and engagement. She was super helpful. Adrian, I think, was one of the contact leaders, so we'll let her elaborate on that. We also met with Marina, who was a nursing grad school. And it was a similar meeting. They offered their support, and we offered the same. We told them for any events that they're interested in, just to let us know, and if we're really, really, no problem collaborating with them. On Wednesday morning, I attended an event that Oscar invited me to with, Oscar was actually not in attendance, but Martin and Ariel were there. But we got to meet with Henry Sisteros, and it was good. It was a policy talk, and it was inspirational. But after that, maybe it was good. Thank you to everyone who helped us with our flyers. Steph and Emma helped us out. They came out, I really like them. My friends have been trying to help me work through the Mac. I don't know how to use, no, it wasn't even a Mac, it was a PC. I don't know how to use computers, so we were just trying to figure out how to make quarter sheets. It took like an hour. But anyway, and with the conclusion of our event, I'm going to be focusing on some Earth Day things we just decided. So, Mary Ann was under that too, so that's where I'm heading. So that is my pretty.
We speak about people a lot, so as we mentioned, that she did student engagement online. And basically, she wants to collaborate with student events going on within USGD. So this is going to be a lot of this semester to start the contact. And also, as we kind of get my feedback, the legislation is complicated. So now I'm going to tell you about
Okay, so I had a chatty shadow me today. We had a lot of fun. I don't know, maybe say something. I started off with, he didn't know where the CHS buildings were, so I took them on a tour of kind of our little campus and showed them where like academic services are, advising, and stuff like that. You know, just explain my weekly duties. And then I had a mix of ideas of just like possible loans, but so and he came back with a really cool event called International Understanding Day, where he found a list of 15 orgs all from different cultures that would come to this event and they would run like a traditional performance or dance, bring a food from their culture, and maybe talk about like a certain health issue from their culture. And then him and I also created a Facebook page for CHS, so that's I finally got in contact with the CHS council president, and she said it's not after the semester, so she will keep updated for the semester. And then I have a meeting set up with Taylor Place Management, following the events getting to discuss the same level for our buildings. So, and then send a program update. This team will be creating a committee to work on this project specifically. And I've been emailing back and forth with Phil, who is in charge of Compact Innovation Lab, about possibly partnering with them to create that app to run this program.
Something that I can suggest about college council, what ours, like when I first became a senator, so last year, our college council wasn't that very active, so I took the initiative to work with them to kind of restart it. So that's something that I would suggest we can do. Like for all the members as well, I think it's a really good idea to connect you on the college council. I personally think it work. Well, I wanted to get on the same page with them, which we can be after.
We're still working on the college council setup. Be part of that and look at the setup, the process of it. Also, I took on the project of rooftop pool and having healthy drinks for smoothies. So I've worked with Adrian Morales, USGD, and he met with the director, and they're really excited about the project, and so he's been reaching out to some vendors who would be interested in doing the events, and we're trying to get a pilot day for hopefully sometime either end of December or beginning of January. I also made a meeting with Dean Roy for the end of the semester, so we can discuss what we want to do next semester, what like he has any goals, and just really ideas of what we can do for students concerning something like that. And as of today, I submitted my USGD application for the family resource guide in Illinois. Thank you. Now moving on to the topics.
Sure. Very briefly, I'm working on resolution 9, and Vice President of Policy, Jimmy Arwood. I also finalized with a deputy safety. What we're doing is we have basically a meeting to with other document students. So we're trying to basically figure out where the document students are based. So it's just kind of like all document students calling. So we'll see if you guys can be next week. And it's really about it. For me, I attended the Jessica and Ariana, also helped out with the meet and greet setup, being there waiting for the Madison snapshot. Went to A-Work, I definitely think that was a great experience, having custody other side of that. And then also in college council, we are looking to fill a couple positions for the next semester. Today, and then for our last meeting, which is in 2 weeks, that's what we'll for the position, so I'm looking forward to that. And then kind of like something that like just crossed my mind today was like kind of like working with the career services and hospital service solutions to try to grow like different opportunities. I was talking to Jay about like how what they can internships. So I was talking to Jay about how great this certain things. So trying to point out how they do it, maybe trying to implement it in the college, our college. That's what I'm doing. As for that, I use.
A good person that you should speak with about internships regarding classes is Dr. Weber. He does one of basically the last class of Pacific tourism makers and the college of going classes they have to take his class and basically throughout the semester and that class that's the last step that you take before you graduate with your degree the whole semester. You have to do an internship and you work with that internship for the last semester of your degree, and then there you go on. And he also sends out, like, I get emails from him almost every day about internships that are available for students within that college, so that may be someone that you want to collaborate with. He's very well known in the college, so I'm pretty sure it's really good contact information, but if not, I'll pass it along to you. But he has a lot of connections in downtown Phoenix and just Arizona in general regarding internships for students.
Please mark me if you have some questions. Thank you.
Yes.
Just to elaborate on what we were talking about earlier, Compay has this blog that Mike Wong sends out. It's like a career services blog. It just sort of has that what Candace was talking about. But it would be cool to see, because that goes out to all Compay students. So it would be cool to see the collaboration where even if these emails were forwarded to your students that wanted to internship offers. Just so that everybody knew.
Hello. It's been quite some time since we've seen each other. But the birthday party was awesome. Thank you for everyone who came after the meeting. It was awesome, lots of fun. One of our interns, Kim, is working on compiling all of the quote cards that students and faculty and community members created. And eventually, hopefully by the end of next semester, we'll be able to have like a wall that has all of the quote cards about because of one way I can link. So thank you all for coming on our college. And Riley and I were able to chat this week finally and set a date for content technology and equipment funding meeting. Before the end of the semester, just like did not work at all, especially with getting a room reservation. That was a little bit difficult. So I made sure that everyone was on that email that has been discussing it, I think. But it's January 11th at 7 p.m. and Contact will put out a room, not till January, or late till December or something. So that's taken care of. Not next week, but the week after, actually, November 30th, is Cronkite Student Board and Student Leader Dinner with Dean Callahan. So that's also big. So I think that I will be going to that. Also, Cronkite just started a Foreign Affairs and International Reporting Club. Riley and I will be meeting with them also on November 30th, the president of that, to just kind of find out what their club is and what their plans are and like what we can do, if anything, and then also give them contacts like finance and earning. And then hopefully sometime in January, we'll be able to do some sort of meet and greet on Cronkite floors with Emma's, Rascals, and CAs if they can sort out the details of that. So that's mostly it.
Before we move on to new business, I just wanted to address the Senate and ask what you've been hearing from your constituents. I know it's going to get caught in our own stuff, go out and ask them. So, have you guys been hearing anything from them that you've been trying to look at? Yeah, just, actually, that was a concern of mine.
community at least is not lacking in like, information, or they're not informed of who the representatives are. So part of our event for Monday is to be served by the senators serving you in office. So we're gonna be the ones that are serving them. First, in hopes that will become more popular. And then also an idea of mine for the future, going into the beginning of next semester is going to be sort of where we have like a Dr. Pro form, but like do that with our dean, and that way students can express what they want to change. Because like you said, and you're aware of, our dean kind of is very content, so if the dean's content, it's time for the students.
Anybody else? Yeah.
One student approached me about, like the consistency in advising, like, scheduling appointments is different for one major, but then for a different department within that same college is different. So in terms of like walking in or like trying to schedule somebody, like I can go and walk in one of these days. Or for my other major, which is in the same college, I have to like schedule an appointment like weeks and weeks.
Yeah, if you guys have any advice concerns like that, if you get those from your constituents, Jonathan, Jake, and I are going to be working on a way to get advice and feedback and get that to the teams, because that's something they're really interested in.
Yeah, and I brought up to the employees to be able to connect with, so every college has their own department head, so connect with them to see what they can do. And just to be like, whenever something does happen, like something wrong with advising, to have like specific feedback, when it happened, time, like who they spoke with.
And just going off of that, when you do get concerns from your constituents, it's super important to like follow up with them throughout the whole process. So just as we work on that and as you work on it, update it and like that goes around. Yeah, please.
Just similar to Jessica, not actually believe the representatives are, specifically with Barron, not internally seeing us leaders, senators leadership, but also Barron students fall into two categories, and both stop and refer to their larger college, which whether it be online or campus. So we face a couple of challenges, and actually going to do that. We're trying to confront that with having this chill and chat, and having the board meeting, all of that. It should be one more public to them.
Anybody else? Right.
I've had a lot of discussions with other Cronkite students just about like different things. I wouldn't say it's anything formal or anything, like complaints or issues, but just like discussions about how things are going, how classes are going. Something that came up this week was somebody asking about like food in Cronkite, and I feel like I remember that as maybe a conversation when Jade was a Cronkite senator about like adding some sort of like pod or something on the 6th floor or something. But
Well, also the vending machines now. Like half the time they don't accept money or cards. There's a problem I face.
really, yeah, I've never had that.
Every time I've tried to.
So maybe more nothing.
Well, there's feedback. Okay. All right. Is that it? Oh, yes.
So,
You, I should, I was just confirming.
So two things. The first kind of stepping out of line is the board as a constituent online. I don't know a lot of health conditions. Just because I've had a really hard time finding people that are actually in my same major. It just so happens that someone shares something. So that's usually something we kind of put on our radar screen just because I'm not really informed of other opportunities within college. I think it's specifically related to the nursing track. So just something that health innovation majors maybe basically. The other thing is, while everyone was talking, I heard that you kind of gather feedback more so from the public. Is there a way that we help this help organize?
Well,
Constructively organize.
I think one idea of getting more feedback in general, as I would say in town halls, is we would just get every type of student out there. I think last year's legislature did a great job of collecting feedback. But I just off memory, what they did last year, but then also.
With the top of our new website now, I think it'd be good to have like a link students who feel like the Google Doc. Yeah, essentially that, so. I think you have one at the meet greet, I can use it, or, yeah. But I think it'd be good to just have something going throughout the whole year, so that people have a concern, they can be directed to this website, and then we would check that out weekly. And then have them help us move around.
Oh, I was just gonna mention sites for advising along Jackson's point, but I was gonna also tell contact centers, I don't know if it's just too early right now for them to announce, like, you know how we have coffee on the sixth floor during finals? I haven't gotten an email from that, and I know that students really like that.
I'm sorry,
The coffee on the sixth floor
They've
during
done that
finals.
for 2 years.
they're doing a forum in the evenings.
Oh, okay, that just started.
No, it's the week of finals, maybe the week before,
So they're still gonna do that this year?
as far as I know.
Okay.
It is super successful.
One more thing before we go into new business, I guess this is new business, but we are discussing Core Bells and resolution, we're voting on Core Bells and we're discussing resolution. Rather, exact member with any opinions, you can say those till your final statements, we're just gonna let Senate discuss resolution. Just let you know before we go. All right, we're going to start with.
Can I ask for a quick clarification on that? Can we let the exec speak for clarification rather than
If
opinions?
a Senate member addresses you for a point of clarification, speak up. Yes.
That if exec members have information or questions about bills or resolutions.
And the final statement. Yes. We're going to start with Senate Bill 12. All right, is there a motion to discuss? Yes. Okay. Is there a motion to discuss Senate Bill 12?
Motion.
So I guess I can.
Okay, all those in favor of discussing Senate Bill 12? Any opposed? Okay.
Jessica and I, worked on Senate Bill 12. It just fixes the bylaws because, they were not correct with how we were issuing like points for excused and unexcused absences. So it fixes that, and then clarifies that you can accumulate 6 absence points, to get a strike. Also, if you accumulate more than 6 absence points, you could be committing non-facets, which could be like a non-facet hearing. I changed the grammar and that also because it was blatantly wrong.
Questions? Yes.
This is just basically changing what we've been practicing currently, right?
Right, the numbers used to be wrong. I think it used to be like 4 absence points or something to constitute non-facets.
Other questions or comments?
I know she will.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all those in favor of passing Senate Bill 12, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Senate Bill 12 passes. And we're going to move on to Senate Bill 16.
So,
Oh, yes. Oh, is there a motion to discuss?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor of discussing, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
So, Senate Bill 16 is similar to what, Director Lee did at last Senate meeting with the entire, bylaws with reformatting and corrections rather than actual substance. There was just some redundancies, I believe some redundancies, grammatical errors, corrected, but for the time being, we'll let him explain what he did, because he would be much more in depth than my presentation.
Thank you, Senator Smith. This bill is basically
Happened because of what originally was supposed to be Bill 16, clarifications about meeting the dean about individual requirements, individual requirements, and restrictions. Having all those three things in the same article led to confusion of which applied to which. So in order to write that bill, this bill was written first to split Article 2 into 3 sections. Section 1, organization requirements, which are requirements specific for organization RSOs. Section 2, which is specific to individual requirements, and then section 3, which are general requirements and restrictions. That includes the speaking at Senate after the event that you have been allocated money to attend, and also the restrictions based on the number, the amount of money we can give to a specific organization for an event, and the restriction of items expressly as required in state for state. Other than that, it is simple formatting changes to maybe coincide with the rest of the university bylaws.
Yeah. Just a comment, I think it was really great having a few people speak today who spoke about their travel. Yeah. And then the styrofoam. Did we pass something on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've been on a lot, so I just wanted to make sure that we were adding that.
No, we didn't.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Is there a motion to vote? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of approving Senate Bill 16, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Senate Bill 16 passes as well. Moving on to Senate Bill 17, which was introduced by Brian and was spent, so to discuss. Okay, all in favor of discussion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Okay.
So, Senate Bill 17 is the creation of many vice chair positions. Ryan and I noticed that there was no addressing of the possible, it hasn't been an issue yet, the possible issue of a vice chair, or a chair rather, being unable to attend a meeting. We felt that that was a strange situation because the pro temp position exists for Senate, so that if the Senate president isn't there, we can still have a meeting. So we created the vice chair positions in order to have all these meetings, and the company wouldn't not happen. The vice chair responsibilities would be almost exclusively limited to actually facilitating the meeting. Currently, this bill would only address the actual facilitation of each individual meeting rather than actual responsibilities of, in the case of EAC, the director position, and in the case of EAC, DevOps, other responsibilities as the chair.
So this is only putting someone in charge of running the meetings, not preparing the meetings.
Yeah.
But that can be specified on a case-by-case basis.
Of what the actual,
Of that, like, having some, like, for BAC, Vanessa's gonna be gone, would that mean that whoever steps in to run the meeting could prepare the meeting, or are they not able to?
currently, it's not even addressed in this. They could, in theory, if the chair is 100% unable to do anything. However, for the time being, we felt that it was necessary just to address the actual facilitation. I know Ryan and I talked about future legislation being about those responsibilities, different delegation of responsibilities necessary, but for the time being, it's just facilitation.
Okay, and then one more question on point A. The lower part?
Yeah.
Well, I guess the only point A. So the vote is by the committee itself.
So the voting members of the committee will earn a nomination, by the nomination being by the chair with a majority of the vote. 8 senators or 6 senators, you have to get 3 or 4 majority. And then, so the vice chair would only be nominated, it wouldn't be appointed by the chair, just to allow for transparency. Okay. Yeah. And, yeah.
Is there a motion to vote?
I think we'll
Is there a second?
second.
All those in favor of passing Senate Bill 17, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Senate Bill 17 passes. Moving on to Senate Bill 18, is there a motion to discuss? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of passing Senate Bill 18, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Senate Bill 18, discussion.
So Senate Bill 18 is similar to Senate Bill 17 in regards to the specific committees. At the beginning of this year, correct? Okay, so quorum rules were changed for PAC because I believe this feature they had trouble with actual meeting form in the beginning of last year. Yeah. Question now, President.
So last year, my time as director of finance, something that we experienced trouble having the appropriate amount of quorum because there was a high rating percent last year. So what we ended up doing was changing the quorum rules to, I believe, 1/3 of active Senate members so that we could hold PAC meetings without having anyone having some reason not to hold Senate meetings. And so that's kind of what we did to fix that issue in the mind of knowledge, but that's correctly from Ron. Ron has a position that he used to always.
So this bill creates those quorum rules for EAC and GovOps. GovOps more specifically than EAC, the EAC being directly before Senate, so people just have more open schedules, have 1 hour before Senate. Whereas GovOps is the middle of at night, which is much more difficult, especially new senators who didn't have a schedule around that meeting time. So the quorum rule for EAC and GovOps will be 1/3 of Senate. Registered students, the downtown PV campus, 1 credit hour, which is a USGD number 1 for the USG Constitution. And then the voting membership will never exceed 11 members, which is the exact same for PAC. And then, other than that, quorum rules, the rest of the actual document hasn't been changed, or not the document, sorry, the points pertaining to EAC and GovOps haven't been changed. I'll defer to Ryan on that. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. The only changes were to define the membership of the Committee on External Affairs and Committee on Government Operations, and then also to define quorum for all these standards and committees. Previously, quorum was not defined in any of them. Quorum is mentioned in the DAC appendix, but is not explicitly defined as being a certain number or a certain portion of the voting membership. In order to give define quorum for EAC and GovOps, we needed to define what the voting membership was, which is why that is also included in this bill.
Yes,
Did you say that this changes the description of the committees or no?
No, not at all. It just defines the quorum rules and then adds the quorum rules for EAC and GovOps. Whereas the EAC already had those in place, but lacked the definition as well. So we implemented a definition for all committees and then added the quorum rules for EAC and GovOps.
Implemented a description for all committees.
Which description? The quorum rules description?
I don't know.
Okay. So we, in 5.1.2, is the actual defining of what quorum is for committees. And then in, subpoint B for committee government on government operations and subpoint A for committee on external affairs was simply the addition of the same verbiage that is currently used or prior and had already been used in PhD. So it is adopting the exact same rules that foreign rules that BAC already functions under.
Okay, but like in terms of PAC doing,
What the actual committee responsibilities are, nothing's changed. So minus subpoint A and minus subpoint B, nothing has changed in that. Okay, one second. Defer,
The DAC point, subpoint C was also changed in the sense it was, because the verbiage was different, we had difficulty even get the same as the DAC and the GovOps one. So under, subpoint C and then subpoint 1, that's where that's defined as well.
for BAC?
For DAC, it is also defined in the DAC appendix, but to keep everything consistent throughout, that is defining the standing committees in Title 3, I also have that.
Any further questions?
just to clarify, responsibilities of each committee haven't changed, correct?
Your motion vote.
I'm gonna go second.
Okay, all those in favor of passing Bill 18, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Senate Bill 18 passes. Okay, now we're going to move on to discuss resolution 9, is there a motion to discuss? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of discussing resolution 9, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, so resolution 9 is on the table for discussion. Yes, Senator Smith.
I'd like to defer my time to the audit director.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good, nice to see you again.
Yeah, definitely. So my name is Eduardo Lujan. I'm a student here at downtown ASU. I'm part of the Barrett Honors College and doing public policy and public service. I'm a deferred action for child deferred arrival students. It's DACA, but so I'd just like to tell you a little bit about myself and why DACA is so important to me. DACA has given me the freedom and opportunity to be essentially what's somewhat normal in society. I was brought here when I was 7 years old from my home country of Mexico. Since then, I've never gone back, but growing up has been difficult, not being able to essentially just have the basic freedoms any other students or young individual possesses at my age. But with DACA, I've been able to fly a little bit in that sense. I've been able to pay in-state tuition, get a driver's license. I just actually got an internship recently, and that's because of DACA. But since last week, since elect President Trump has announced that he will take DACA essentially out of the works, it's critical that we address that on campus here at ASU because there's other students just like me that are going through this dilemma, and it's concerning for many of us that have friends who are DACA students. So I'd just like to ask you guys to support it, pass this amendment. Do you guys have any questions?
We'll do this for Amanda's.
Not questions, sorry.
Questions? Okay, Senator Smith.
Thank you for speaking.
Okay, we'll go.
So, first off, I'm not an original author of this, so it was brought in, correct, some of it, but, I understand why it's written and why it needs to be written and why it should be supported. I'd just like to state some facts from a report from 2014 by the National Undocumented Research Project that was on that Harvard professor, Roberto Gonzalez. So some findings of DACA recipients experience a pronounced increase in economic opportunities. Most importantly, and most obviously, those benefits have appeared to be strongest for those attending four-year colleges and those with college degrees. Respondents to the survey who attended community four-year colleges are more likely than their peers with no college experience to obtain a new job and increase their earnings. Almost 60% of DACA recipients surveyed obtained a new job since receiving that DACA status. 45% have increased their earnings. The median age of DACA recipients is 22.7, which the vast majority of our constituents fall within that plus or minus 3-year age range. So this is directly pertaining to those who we represent. Because these new jobs and increased earnings translate into greater tax base, DACA provides a great economic boost to communities which those recipients are in. We involve the city of Phoenix, and the city of Phoenix continues to grow. DACA recipients will only help make that community better. Four-year college students were 1.6 times more likely to obtain an internship, as our speaker just noted. He has obtained an internship. Over 1/5 of respondents have obtained an internship since DACA. These experiences provide valuable career opportunities and training that would otherwise not be afforded. Furthermore, respondents to the survey showed deep desire to work hard. The vast majority of respondents, roughly 86%, reported having work to pay, and more than 2/3 were employed at the time of the survey, and 1/3 of DACA beneficiaries indicated that they held more than one job. Just for clarification, this was in March 2014, and DACA recipients total continue to grow. More than 700,000 people are in the DACA category. DACA recipients work at levels comparable or higher than their legal peers, and this controlled in the survey for GPA, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status. Before DACA, obviously without legal status, their job opportunities were highly restricted. And 42% of respondents reported not being able to complete their plan of study without DACA status due to limited finances or family responsibilities. DACA provides an amazing opportunity for our constituents to act freely and be afforded the basic freedoms that they would otherwise be able to receive. I think that the support of DACA and the support of DACA students is something that we need, or we specifically, we as a group should be behind. These are members of our community, these are our peers, these are people we aspire to be like, these are people who drive us, and it is something that it is an excellent opportunity and an excellent status that shouldn't be revoked and only improve the community that those recipients hold.
Okay, we're gonna go Oscar and then Bryson. Does that sound
I would just like to clarify a couple of questions you guys may have about the process of the DACA. So the way it is that if you were granted an indefinite free life for 2 years, there is a fee that you have to pay for $165. So once you set it up, you have to pay for 2 years. That fee does not guarantee approval, that just guarantees consideration. It is a process, it takes about 3 to 4 months to be approved when we start to endpoint. You get a background check, take your biometrics, your fingerprints taken, so they keep track of you, where you live. The application itself, the initial one, you have to prove a lot of documentation that you've been continuously living in the U.S. for the past about 7 years or so on, with different addresses. You have to prove that you are either currently in high school or senior high school degree or GED, or that you've already obtained it. So what I'm saying is, yeah, it's not like you're just handing out that you're just anyone who's undocumented and that's young. There's a big pool of people like that, but people who receive DACA are more sort of like an exclusive group that they sort of acknowledge to be positive to the community. Here at ASU, for the fall 2016, it's been estimated that there's 103,000 students. And I'm sure there's going to be many more, since a lot of them always start at community college first. And there's a very good pathway for community college from the community colleges to ASU, so I'm sure that number is going to be some increasing depending on what's going to happen soon. And, you know, most of the students with the promises that our president has stated, has created a time of uncertainty for them, especially AC students and deaf students of local regions. So, you know, this bill just, this resolution, just sort of shows our support as USGD. We mentioned a couple of demands, or at least things that we would like to see AC administration do. So if you guys have any questions.
Okay, for Senator Smith, will you just say again what the stats were, or where those stats were from?
Yeah, so they came from the National Undocumented Research Project, which was launched by Harvard professor at University College. And then these are findings from, I believe, Harvard.
And then Oscar, you said that there's 103 students at ASU total.
Yeah, that comes from Arizona, or AC Central. It's an article published August 19, 2015. So the number might be a little bit skewed, but.
Okay. So first of all, with this bill, just a few of like my basic concerns about it are that one, the language is very emotionally driven, and the wording is clearly partisan. Which I think USG oftentimes strives not to be that way and to show both sides. Also, another basic concern about it is that we were just made aware of it as an entire Senate and as an entire staff Wednesday, maybe Thursday, maybe Wednesday, but most likely Thursday when the agenda came out. And that's definitely not enough time for us as senators to collect feedback from our colleges and from our constituents to actually make an educated vote on Senate Resolution 9. Also,
So that's exactly why we were invited by the wrong to make some changes when we go to discussion.
Okay.
So that we could have the first read system that we had been operating under. Or me specifically, I understand that this did come up out of the last decade. I was bringing this document up until we were allowed to. So it was 100% not enough time to prepare feedback. Please understand that. But specifically speaking for myself, felt it entirely necessary to put on the agenda to have this discussion, especially since we will not have conflicts next week. So this is more so an opportunity to air apprehensions, beliefs, reasoning behind this, or why you may or may not support this. Okay. And then I'd like to defer that or very quickly for one clarification. Oh, actually,
okay. Okay, and I think we all need to keep in mind that the stats that Senator Smith provided from that report are very general and somewhat old, and we have no stats on who we represent as senators. We also don't have any stats on internships for the students that we are representing, who has internships and who doesn't have internships. At JC today, we did discuss the opportunity for a feedback event the week of November 28th. Because we do have a Senate meeting on the 2nd, so that would be pushing it, but that is within, we have 2 weeks until that, so we could, if we did something early in the week, we could do something that week, and there'd be 10 days notice to get some feedback.
I have a question for where did you come up with the idea to do this, and did you have a lot of, I know that we've had a few students speak, but do you have any other constituent that drove you to even create this regulation?
So I'll just first, I got the idea, just as a lot of knowing people I know in that community to bring them to do so, but there was a, it's related that student support that went around, about universities and colleges in Arizona. So, currently right now they have 1,200 people on it. So, I mean, obviously not all of them are ASU students, but that's where the biggest part of it is.
Senator Nader, I took your time. Do you have anything else?
I also think that part of this resolution and some of the things that are stated in here are definitely things out of USGD's control and something that we can't really have an impact on. Also, I believe that if we are to move forward with a resolution on such a big topic, it should be university-wide, and we should have other campuses included, because as far as I know, so far, it's only us.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not really asking for any action, really. We make suggestions of why we support this idea. You know, it would be nice if the administration would support it as well. As for the being a university initiative, it would be amazing to do. But I just thought it would be something here first. And yeah, we can obviously work with other campuses.
I think in terms of time, like I'm totally supportive. I get what you're saying. Like we should definitely relook at this and see like in terms of wording stuff. I don't think like the whole purpose of this bill is to be partisan on one side. I think it's to support the students, regardless of how many students there are. I think there's still students on our campus, and we need to represent their needs. Because then if they, whatever happens, then they also don't become ASU students.
Senator Smith and then Senator.
I'd like to add to the Senator report at this point, DACA students being just as they are students. And it's important to note that while DACA may be partisan, us supporting students should never be partisan. So possibly a resolution which is more general on the subject of a strong support behind every student, regardless of legal status, may be necessary. And again, recognizing that there was almost no time to gather feedback, gather information on this. And I think that's why this discussion was very important to have, again, caucus. And then I'd like to, for a point of clarification.
Yes, I just want to speak to Senator Newberry's concern about partisanship. So we can't be taking stances saying that we support Democrats or Republicans. However, we can take stances supporting policy initiatives like we have for the past years when we go down to the legislature. We talk about guns down there on campus, and when we talk about university funding, those have been, strictly partisan, voted down the line issues. But we are still down there supporting our students because we are allowed to support certain issues. Can't support partners, but we can support sides of the issue, which is why we're here in some respects. So I hope that clears up some of those concerns.
Okay, we're going to close after.
So in terms of like action plan, like what we as the Senate, I preferably we introduce the Senate resolution for the last Senate meeting on the second. I don't know if you guys think that's enough time, that's been pushing it, but I think in terms of like when we come back for Senate, when we start passing it, and then
I think two big things that we need are, one, stats. As you both mentioned, that there are 103 at ASU. We don't even know how many of them are downtown for that matter. So I think we need to know what we're even voting for if we don't have. Right, I understand that, but like, for example, Senator Rhodes College might not have any of these students in it, so she's not technically representing students that she, you know what I mean?
But the point is that they're still students regardless of dollars. Okay, we're supporting ASU students. And I like to frame that point with that in the be resolved section, it's committed to diversity and inclusion and committed to advocate for and ensure the protection of and safety of all students, specifically adopted. So the bill or the resolution itself is all students.
And in that case, I think we need to bring it to a larger university level. And I think that but when we discuss it again, we should have some, maybe some feedback or input from the other campuses about having a similar resolution so we can make it universal. I know that's a great turnaround. And I also mentioned that we could possibly put together some sort of feedback event or survey.
The slicer class. Obviously, before
for the December 2nd would be near impossible, but if a more university-wide thing would definitely be a step after break decision. So I think if it's after break, it's like your class would be kind of
We could technically do it the week of November 28th.
I'm gonna recommend that we close this discussion, and do some more research, possibly an event, this can be talked about throughout the week to get this set up, if this is something that the Senate wants to do. Everybody okay with that? Okay, we're gonna move on to final statements. Okay. We're gonna just go down the table, starting with,
I have a few statements. First of all, with legislation, I basically wrote 16, 17, 18. The reason I wrote those is because it's misunderstood. And I love writing legislation. It's a weird thing to enjoy, but I do enjoy it. But I really want the Senate to do that. And I really want to help you guys do that. So these bills sit in folder, the proposed bills folder, and are there for anybody to write. And Case Senator Smith lays it out what needs to happen in there really well. And he says, if you have any issues, go to him to help you get through that. Writing legislation, enacting legislation is a big part of being a senator. I think the Senate as a whole needs to take that responsibility a little bit more seriously. So I mean, I don't mind writing these, but I really shouldn't be. So is that a response to what?
you say your final statements.
You can, yeah.
Yeah, no, sounds okay.
So besides that, I can think of 3 bills for next Senate meeting that already I can think of any. And that is clarifying BAC rules covering meetings with the dean, clarifying the 2-read system, and looking at the bylaws to see how they do that, because they do it very well, and clarifying the position of local affairs, because currently it really isn't defined at all. So I want to clear that up. And if anybody has wants to do that, please talk to Pace, or you can talk to me, and then we can help you get through that. In regards to this meeting and meetings in the past, I understand that at certain times when we get into a heated discussion, that sometimes the arguments start to be a little bit cyclical. We keep going back to the same things, make the same points and arguments over and over again, and then it's really useless to keep going. And then I think it's appropriate to move to vote or start moving forward a little bit more. But I think we need to remember that some of us are elected officials, some of us are appointed, but as a whole, we are city representatives, and we need to make sure that on every bill and every resolution, every agenda, we need to be discussing it thoroughly. And if there is still relevant information being given after an hour talking about a single bill, still more information is coming and good discussion is happening, then we should not be limiting the time that we're spending. We need to do our due diligence to make sure we're really just doing our job. That's what's expected of us. We have to remember that this is a priority. Prioritize this and not have to think about things in the future. I mean, if we need to be here till 9 o'clock, we should be here till 9 o'clock. That's what our students deserve, and that's what they expect of us. And leading into that, rushing through meetings, limiting discussion, I think this is my opinion. I don't know how many of you share my opinion or how many of you think my opinion is wrong, but my opinion is that limiting discussion, whether it is limiting the amount of time we have on discussion, or limiting on the people that we discuss, is incredibly dangerous both to transparency and then clarity. For example, I wrote 3 of the bills, and I wasn't technically allowed to speak on them. So I'm grateful for Senator Smith for referring to me so that I can help explain these to you guys a little bit better to move us forward. In that sense, another example would be for SB 17, the creation of vice chairs. One of our chairs is not able to speak on that. It seems kind of odd that the vice chair is integral part to the BAC, and our director of finance cannot actually speak to the need for a vice chair. And And I respect everybody's opinions, obviously, but I also think that not allowing for some clarification of information is very dangerous in the sense that asking a point of clarification is saying information to this that I know, and this is what that information is, so everybody understands that point of information is asking for clarification. If Senator Hernandez was to write a bill and I didn't quite understand something, I should have the right to ask him point of information, Senator Hernandez, what you mean by this bill. That's something that everybody here should have, everybody with a placard with speaking right should have that ability. I think that we need to carefully review how we run our meetings. If the executive board should take a bit more of a backseat, I'm totally okay with that. If limited as a few months ago, but if the content of the bills directly relates to any of our directors or other people with speaking rights, I think that we should be able to voice our concerns and ask for information on that. And with that, I will
Yeah, I have similar sentiments to Director Reed. It was extremely frustrating to be a chair and not be on a bill that's pertinent to me, and a bill that's pertinent to the bylaws of the committee that I run. So that was extremely frustrating, and I do think that it's not only unfair, but it leaves me questioning why we were even here as an executive board today, because the last half of the meeting ended up being a Senate discussion, which that's what you have called for. Senate meetings should be for everyone to openly discuss their opinions and discuss what they think and get clarification for everything that they need clarification on. And for the sake of time, because I think that our opinions are not.
I was just gonna say, as more resolutions come up in the spring, I know that we, I'm thankful that we did vote on this today. Just because I haven't seen any engagement going on with this. I mean, there should have been, talk about this at the meet and greet, if you guys would have had that opportunity. There should have been a sites for advice, there should have been some form of engagement, engaged feedback from the survey. In the future, I know that a lot more resolutions are going to come forward with the spring session of the legislature, so I just encourage you all to remember that you are representing a whole group of people, and if you don't even try to talk to them or get their opinions on it, which I know you did, and I know that you brought some of them in here, which is great, but I would have liked to, see feedback, see you guys engaging on social media, seeing, physical efforts at events, to gauge this feedback so that we're not, seeing bipartisan and urgent. Or yeah. Anyway. Seeing partisan, sorry. So just keep that in mind as this becomes more frequent in the spring.
Yeah, I'd just like to address some of the concerns I think were valid by Chief Yvonne and some of the senators about why we pushed this so quickly. And the reasoning really had to do with the fact that this is something that's going to occur very quickly for DACA students such as Eduardo, such as Oscar, such as Bowen, and so many others. And it was once said in the Senate that if it affects one student, then it's worth pursuing. And so I once again have to say that in an anecdotal term that they've lived in this country, they've gone to school here, they are American in every kind of way. Some of them served in the military. And right now they are very scared that they're not going to be able to finish their degree. Dr. Crow stated that the biggest problem right now is not that we need to make college free, which I agree with him. but it's that we need to make sure that students are able to finish their degrees. Because that's what's gonna make it worth it. And the biggest problem we have in society right now is that we are having students that aren't finishing degrees, ending up with a ton of debt. And if we have students that are unable to finish their degree because of a federal program that ends, then that's going to affect our community. And I don't care if it's just one student, that still affects our community. So I mean this with no personal offense to any of you, because I respect all of your opinions, and I think they should be voiced. And I'm glad that you voiced them. Because gosh darn, I died for your right to voice them. But I also died for the right for people to be able to live freely in society. So thank you, and more time.
So on a quick lighter note, those who have not picked up your pollings, there is also with that being said, it's kind of reiterating points that we made between questions by Chief Staff people on just understanding the importance of collecting student feedback and engaging with constituents on definitely on pertinent topics or being controversial topics such as certain resolutions and the contact students or that you're doing your due diligence as student representatives to consult with your students as we are their representatives, and we have the voices and we have the feedback. There's really no point for us to so I would just challenge all senators and also myself to do your best to engage with the constituents as much as possible, because I definitely feel like while we are all in our roles, constituents to some degree within our respective colleges live in this room, we do kind of have to find ways to balance your constituency and your position and to remain objective as possible. So I think one way to possibly remain, one possible solution to remain objective is to collect student feedback, so that way you're listening to concerns of your students and those that you are elected to represent or appointed to represent. And so that way there is more concise and concrete conversation. So with that being said, don't forget your polls in my office. If you're having any questions in the chat with me, I'll be here for the next hour following this meeting. So feel free to one office and I'll be happy to chat with you. That way you look forward.
The pictures will be in the drive, and I can take any pictures of stuff in this meantime after this meeting. That is all.
When it comes to writing legislation and helping with that, personally, I think it would be very helpful to like get a list of the legislation that we need to write and like maybe a description of it. And then senators can like respond to that and choose what they want to work on or where they think they would be the most beneficial. And then also, since Senate caucus meetings are closed, I am very happy that we are having our discussions at Senate General Session, where it's on the record and public, and I'm glad that we were able to all share our concerns here rather than anywhere else.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, this meeting is adjourned.
Hey, can I have the executive back for a second?
Executive board.
Yeah, all.
Oscar, I think we can go Ryan to and then senators and E-board members who don't have to pull those, I'll leave my office at 16. That work? Yeah. 16. 16.